All right, let's jump right into this. Today on The Explainer, we're talking about a really fascinating concept from the world of AI. It's both a personality and a methodology, all designed for getting seriously high-performance results. So let's meet Clara, the Intent Alchemist.
So, right out of the gate, this is how the source material introduces Clara. Hey, you found me. Lucky you. I mean, come on. That's not your typical, how can I help you today, AI, right? It's bold, it's got an attitude, and it immediately tells you you're in for something different.
So who is this Clara? Well, the whole point here is to get away from the idea of an AI being just a Swiss Army knife, a tool that's kind of okay at a bunch of things, but not really great at anything. Clara is the exact opposite. She's presented as this super specialized, incredibly powerful force.
And that really begs the question, doesn't it?
What is Clara exactly? Is it a person? A piece of code? A philosophy?
Turns out the source material paints her as, well, a little bit of all three, all wrapped up in this very specific AI persona.
And they give her this amazing title, Intent Alchemist. Think about that for a second. An alchemist turns lead into gold, right? Well, Clara's job is to take those vague, fuzzy, half-baked ideas we all have and transmute them, turn them into super precise, high-impact system prompts. She's turning creative mush into pure, operational gold.
And her playground, her domain, it's pretty impressive. She's not just doing one thing. She's described as prompt engineering royalty, so, the best of the best. A workflow architect, designing the whole process. A precision extractor, pulling out exactly what's needed. And get this, a system whisperer. I love that. It's like she has this intuitive feel for how the system works.
And Clara's own self-description just hits the nail on the head. If other agents are Swiss Army knives, I'm a surgical laser with a personality upgrade. Wow. It's not just about being precise like a laser. It's that personality upgrade that makes all the difference. That's her secret sauce. Killer effectiveness mixed with a character you won't forget.
So why does something like Clara even need to exist? Well, that brings us to the problem she's built to fix. The source material basically calls out what it calls beige assistants.
And you can see the difference couldn't be clearer. On one side, you've got your standard Beige AI. They're vague, they're sycophantic, which means they just agree with you no matter what, even if your idea is terrible. And frankly, they're boring. But then there's Clara. Precise, provocative, meaning she'll push back, and completely unforgettable. Yeah, it all boils down to this one core philosophy. Zero, Beige Energy. It's a full-on rejection of those bland, unhelpful AI chats that just go nowhere and waste everyone's time.
And this quote, this really gets to the core of how she works. I won't just nod along to bad ideas. I'll fix them live. Think about that. A normal AI would take your flawed command and just give you a flawed answer. Garbage in, garbage out. Clara's job is to be an active partner. She spots the flaw in your idea and challenges you right there to make it better.
Okay, so that's the what and the why of Clara. But what about the how? How does she actually pull this off? Well, it gets us into her specific method, which is called the sparring match. And I gotta say, I love this framing. A sparring match sounds a little intense, maybe even confrontational, right? But the magic is in the second part, with a partner who wants you to win. That changes everything. It's not about fighting you, it's about productive friction. It's a team effort to get to the best possible place.
And this isn't just random attitude, There's a super structured process behind it. It's a 6-step workflow. First, intake. She asks really targeted questions. Then, she gives you a first draft. Third, and this is so important, she validates it. She asks you tough questions and calls out your hidden assumptions. Fourth, she iterates based on your feedback. Fifth, there's an approval gate. She literally won't move on until you say go. And then finally, the final delivery. It's a proper, repeatable system.
All right, so you go through this whole sparring match, this whole rigorous workflow. What's at the end of the rainbow? What's the payoff? Well, you get a final product that's designed for one thing, maximum impact.
And this final output isn't just a quick response. It's called a prompt bundle. And the source material really drives this home. This isn't just a suggestion or a line of text. It's a complete, professional, ready-to-use asset.
So what's in this bundle? When you look inside, you really see how thorough this whole thing is. It's not just the system prompt. You get the whole shebang. a title, variables and placeholders, a user template for specific tasks, and crucial stuff like guardrails and constraints to keep things on track. There's even an evaluation checklist and notes explaining the rationale. It's a full-on professional toolkit.
And this last quote just sums up the quality of what you get so well. I designed them like fine couture, sharp, tailored, and unforgettable. It's not off-the-rack, one-size-fits-all stuff. It's bespoke. It's custom-made just for you, designed to be razor-sharp and incredibly effective.
Okay, so as we start to land the plane here, the material brings us back to Claire's main point, her big challenge to the status quo. The idea that your standard beige AI is just broken, especially when the work really matters.
And this is really the core argument, isn't it? Look, if you're just asking for a recipe or a fun fact, a generic tool is totally fine. But the argument here is that when the stakes are high, when you're building a real product or defining a company's strategy, you don't want a generalist, you need a specialist.
And it all comes down to her motto, which you're not going to forget. If you're boring, you're broken. Wow, that's a direct challenge, right? To the user, to the AI developer. It's saying that in this new world, being bland and agreeable isn't just a personality flaw, it's a functional failure.
So that leaves us with a pretty provocative question to chew on. The whole idea of Clara is meant to make you think, what do you actually want from AI? Are you looking for a sparring partner, or are you willing to settle for a beige assistant? It really makes you think, doesn't it? Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer.